Hi, welcome to You, Me and Mediumship. I tend to do videos on questions that I'm asked, and I've already done some videos on this aspect of your spirituality, your mediumship, but the, it's been requested that I do something a little bit more in depth. So I'll do my best with this, and it's all about self, the importance of knowing self, and there'll probably be one or two of you who have watched the other videos who may well at this point decide to switch off. That's fine, but there's a number of people who keep asking me to do something a bit more in depth, so that's what I'm going to attempt to do for you this evening. Please, first of all, thank you for subscribing to the channel, all my subscribers. Thank you for liking the videos. Thank you for your fantastic comments. Get lots of questions, and please don't think I'm ignoring you. I do answer all the comments. If I've missed any, remind me and I'll get back to your comment and answer it for you. But it's a real honour and a privilege to be working with you. Same on my Patreon. It's an honour. Some of the people that I've met on there have some amazing talent, some amazing ability within light work, and it's been a real pleasure working with you. It's been absolutely fantastic working all around the world. It's absolutely amazing. We sit here in the UK shivering, and I sit there talking to some of you sitting in 40 plus degrees. Rather jealous. Not that I'm one for the heat. I think I'd probably struggle in that type of heat. But no. Again, thank you very much for becoming patrons and working with me. We've seen some great results already. It's early days, but I've seen some fantastic results with some of the lovely ladies and gentlemen that I'm working with, like I said, around the world. So that's fantastic too. Please like and subscribe to the video. And as many of you know, many of you have subscribed and watched many of the videos. I do work with my feet on the ground, okay? There's no glitter involved in anything that I do regarding mediumship. I'm very respectful of everybody's opinion. Always will be. And I work in I try to keep it as simple as I can method, because I've been where many of you are now. As you can probably just about tell, I've been around for a while. So yeah, I know and understand the many ups and downs that the beginners, if you like, the people that are quite new to especially mediumship and other forms of spiritual work, and understand the barriers and the frustrations. And like I said, I've been there, and I think things could be a lot better for new people. I think in some cases, it's what they call, it's a bit of a rip off some of the fees that are being charged. I understand people charging fees, especially on some of the social media platforms, because it does cost money to do this sort of thing. YouTube, I don't get anything from YouTube whatsoever, which I'm not too bothered about, to be quite honest, because it's not about that. It's about trying to help people as best I can. It would be nice to do everything for free, but the Patreon side of the training side of it does take a lot of work, and obviously I have fees from them and what have you. So anyhow, let's get back to the subject, shall we? We don't want to go down any political route or financial route. It's the last thing we need. So I'd like to start with explaining why the element of self is so important within light work, within what we do. I've explained this before, so I apologise for those that have already heard me explain this. But the element of self, your own soul if you like, your own energy, is the main tool that you will use within your mediumship. That element itself is your connection to the world of spirit. If we look into the world of spirit and try and understand how that exists, how that is around us, if we grasp that first of all, so if we imagine as we leave the body we become obviously energy. We are conscious energy, okay, that still exists but within the world of spirit. So we are spirit obviously without body, we are energy without body. So we don't carry all that burden with us. So that energy itself that has been set free is the energy that exists within you now. It is there now. You are spirit within body. So in order for us to be able to communicate with the energies around us, we need to use that part of us that is similar, well I say similar, is identical to the energy that we have within self. So the energy within self is identical to the energy that we are trying to communicate with. So in order to use that, we need to understand it, we need to access it if you like. We need to be able to expand that energy that is within self so that it can merge with the energy that's around us so that we can obviously communicate. So it's kind of as simple as that. Now if I said to you now, go and find me a cup, you'd know straight away where you would find a cup, and you would know what a cup looks like, obviously. So quite an easy task. But if I said to you now, go and find self, that I feel for many would be quite a difficult thing to ask. Because first of all, a lot of people don't know where to go and find it, and secondly, they've got no idea what that actually looks like, or even feels like. So the whole exercise of finding self, recognizing it, knowing where we can find it, okay, is something that we all need to practice. Now, sitting in that silence is the key to finding self. We don't always have to, quote, sit in the power. Excuse me. We don't have to sit in the power necessarily to find ourselves. Because that silence, and if you think logically about that, that silence is mentioned in just about every holy book that has ever been written. Many spiritual practices of all types from all around the world talk of sitting in that silence, be it in one form or another. Now that is not pure coincidence. It is because finding self is a major part of attuning to your own spiritual self. You need to attune to that, to find that inner peace, to allow the flow of energy, be it from whatever you believe in, whether it's God, Buddha, whoever it is, that flow of energy from source, if you like. From now on we will call it source. So it's important that we sit within that flow of energy, that source, and by doing so we attune ourselves to that energy, that source within self. It's very difficult for the man on the street to find not only the time, but it's very difficult to find and actually sit in that peace because of what I think a lot of the Indians call is the monkey brain, because it chatters away, and it just doesn't seem to want to shut up, and it's very difficult to find that peace. It's the same if you can't sleep sometimes at night. That monkey brain's chatting away about things that you've probably experienced through the day, things you've got to do tomorrow. And for some people it can be a real issue trying to nod off. But there are ways of stilling that mind. And one of the ways we do it is obviously through breath, by concentrating on the breath, by being quite visual, by imagining places that we go to. There's all sorts of ways, obviously, we try and close down that monkey brain. So to understand, I'll just go back really just a little way, is that tool of mediumship. If you haven't got that tool of mediumship, if you haven't got that grasp of self, the energy within you that you need to expand, to reach out into the world of spirit for them to merge with, so that the communication flows between the two worlds, between self and spirit, then you will obviously struggle. I'm not saying you will not get anything. The problem is nowadays, obviously, because many mediums, the minute that they start to get snippets of information, are thrown out there in the big wide world, doing demonstrations, one-to-ones and whatever. And the quality sometimes, unfortunately, and I'm not putting anybody apart, but this is just opinion, okay? This is my opinion, and I totally respect it if you think I'm wrong. But the quality of the old days, if you like, is not there anymore. We do have some fantastic mediums working out there, and the chances are they are pure natural mediums that have had that ability since the day they took their first steps, and they are lucky in that respect that it's just a natural thing for them to be able to have that line of communication open with the world of spirit. We all have that natural ability, but there are many different scenarios that can affect that. Our everyday lives can affect that. Stresses and strains of everyday lives especially. We become blinkered, we become focused on life itself. That ability gets buried, and every now and again it'll pop up its head and back down it goes. So that's the norm. The norm for many is that it is just buried. That natural ability is just buried deep. And it's a bit like saying that there is good in everybody. I believe there is good in everybody, but it's a lot deeper in some than others. And it can be harder work to get that good out of someone in some people than it is to get it out of someone else. It can be difficult sometimes to see that good. So when we meet people in the street, maybe friends or strangers even, and we talk and we have that line of communication open. We are not just listening to the vibration of their words. We also are looking deeper than that. That's why sometimes you could have a person stood in front of you who are saying the most wonderful things, but inside you feel uneasy. And you start saying to yourself, there's something about this person I don't like. Because you know that what they're doing in front of you, the way of communicating with you, you're in a sense is picking up that this isn't true self that you are speaking to. You are speaking to some actor, actress, who's very good at putting on that front. This isn't the real person here. That's what is going on within yourself. I know this isn't the true person. Your energy, your soul, yourself knows it's not communicating with the self of another. It is communicating with something very plastic, very put on, if you like. And you will feel uneasy inside. So that element of self, that power of self and soul within you is very active. It's active daily. Same when you sense something, you walk into a house, into a room, you're uneasy, you don't like it. It can be the prettiest of rooms that you've ever seen. But you are not at peace in that room. Something's telling you you are not at peace. And it is exactly the same with the energy of self and soul, that when you carry out certain acts, you feel uneasy about it. You know you shouldn't be doing it. You know it's the wrong thing to do. Self knows it's the wrong thing to do. But the mind overrules and you carry on. So, that element of self is quite active on a daily basis. So by sitting in the power, we have already grasped self. We know where that energy is. We know it's within. And when we sit in the power, we are literally just expanding that outwardly. There are numerous videos, and I've done one or two about sitting in the power out there, explaining how to push that self out. That pure expansion. The difference as well, obviously, between that and meditation is the very fact that you are not going within. Meditation is going within. And sitting in the power is going outward. So two different scenarios, two totally different scenarios. So in order for you to truly understand self, it's important you sit in that silence. You become aware of your own energy, your own soul. And you can have conversation with that. And now this sounds absolutely crazy. I can hear you all now saying, no, Kevin, you need to go and take a tablet or something. Something's not quite right. But believe me, you can have that conversation with self. And the conversation to have sometimes with self is to look at how you perceive things. And it's good, in a way, to question yourself. Did I react in a way I should have reacted in a certain circumstance? My spiritual self, is that how that wanted to react? Or did I react in anger? Did I react in a jealous rage? Did I overreact in a certain circumstance? You can think of things in the day that maybe happened to you. Maybe the boss at work upset you. Maybe your partner upset you. Did I react correctly? Did I react in a spiritual way? And 9 times out of 10 we are in auto mode. And what I mean by that is that we react in a way that we have learnt to react through experience, perception of different circumstances throughout our lives. And even from our parents, the way they react. If this happens, this is what you do. This is what we are taught continually throughout our lives. We experience different things every day. And we will react in a way that we have learned to react, not how we should react. So for argument's sake, if Kevin, if you like, reacts to a particular circumstance, is that Kevin reacting, or is that how Kevin's been told to react? You need to try and split the two and work that out for yourself. By doing that, by thinking, is that how I want to react, or is that just simply how I've been taught to react, you start to learn all different weird and wonderful things about self. You start to experience self. Now you may well think, I shouldn't have reacted like that. We all do that. Everybody does it. I shouldn't have reacted like that. Then you can start taking control of you. And obviously, so many people want to be seen in a certain way. Now, how your friends see you, how your family see you, is that you that they're seeing? Or is that who you want them to see? See how we start to divide what this baggage that we have taken on throughout our lives. We start to think, well, is this my life, or is this a life I've been told to lead? You need to start separating all that baggage that you have literally carried since birth, because you have been guided since birth. You've gone to nursery, you've gone to school, you've been taught, and you would have been taught obviously about things like religion. You know, we've had, in my day when you went to school, you used to have what we used to call RE, religious education, and be taught all about the Bible, the story of the Bible and Christianity. And there will be others here that would have been taught their religions at school. So how much of that sits with you? How much do you think of that is correct? Do you go to church because you want to go to church, or do you go to church because you went to church when you were little, you had no option? You put that little suit on, your best dress and your best frock, and off you went. Did you go because you wanted to go? Did it sit right with you? Did you feel right with it? Fine, if you did, if you enjoy going to church and it means a lot to you and it brings that inner peace for you, then that is absolutely fine. But how many, once they left home and grew up, actually kept that habit going? There are very few that do. So we start to separate through who you are, who you really are, self. We need to separate that from what people wanted you to be. So, and this is exactly the same for reaction. Do you react how you want to react, or do you react how you've been taught to react? And the thing is, sometimes it can be very difficult to distinguish between the two. You really have to think hard about it. Am I reacting how I want to react, or is that how I've been taught. Sometimes it's very difficult to divide that. And as a light worker, as a spiritual person, you need to be in control of that, so that you know that you are linked wholeheartedly to self, who you really are. Because who you really are is not always the person that everyone else around you sees. And that, of course, causes many problems throughout your life, because you are kind of, in a way, living an act. Some people obviously live in sorry, jolting everything. Obviously, a lot of people, not a lot of people, but many people live really big acts. They're in a massive performance. Others are more self. They're more their self. This is who I am. If you don't like who I am, that's fine. But this is who I am. I'm happy. I'm at peace with who I am. So you need to question yourself about that as well. Are you happy with who you are? What don't you like about yourself? And I'm not talking anything material at all. You know, I wish I had my hair a different colour. I wish I had a different hairstyle. Things like that. No, none of that is relevant whatsoever. It's basically how you react to the world around you is who self is. How you fit into this world, into this life experience. And obviously we want to fit in a good way. We want to project that light of inner self out into this world and live by that. And that is by no means an easy task, because we are surrounded by material greed, plastic people. Our minds are constantly bombarded with negativity. So pushing that positive light out into the world that is so engrossed in its material gain aspect is not easy. But you can do it. And if you are strong enough with that energy from self, if you have a strong enough grip on that, you will do it without any effort at all. It will come naturally to you. So as mediums, how does this all link in? But it's like I said, it is your tool. Not your crystal ball, not your tarot cards. Okay, we use them as a tool, I guess. But it is not the main tool from the toolbox at all. The tarot cards, the crystal balls, the crystals, okay, they are a focal tool. They are a tool that helps self focus. And by doing that, you are then allowing that flow of energy to interlink with your energy, so that line of communication starts to build. And then information will start to come through to you, because you have a focus tool in front of you. And obviously you have images from these tools that will influence thought and help you give that reading, etc. There is no one method of mediumship, and I'm sure many people fly through YouTube and across the web looking for that one little tip, that one little trick that's going to open you up to the world of spirit, and that line of communication will just happen. There'll be a flash of light and off you go. Loads of information coming through, all 100%, all hunky-dory. Right, you will spend many hours trying to find that. And the truth is, you won't. Because this is about you. This is about your relationship with spirit. You can't be taught that. You can't read it because the author of that book, the teacher, does not know what your relationship with spirit is, because we are all different. We all have different relationships, even with the excuse me, the living. Some people love their parents wholeheartedly, unconditionally. Some people can't stand them. And probably never speak to them. So there's a huge variety of different ways we have relationships with people because we are individual energies. Some of us find it difficult to have certain relationships in certain ways. We are all different, and that is exactly the same with your relationship with spirit. Your energy is identical to that you are trying to communicate with. That energy level is identical. It is within you, it is there in spirit. But what is different about you who's watching this video now is that your life experience is different to mine. And in order for spirit to be able to communicate clearly with you, they need to understand what makes you tick. They need to understand your emotion. They need to understand what you've experienced, how you perceive things, your personality, your consciousness. They need to understand all that. You build that relationship up with them. And by doing so, it helps with that line of communication through, let's have a think, say clairvoyance. There will be things, and I've explained this before, there will be things that there will be visions and signs that come to you that mean something to you personally. And spirit become aware of that. If that white rose continually reminds you of your grandmother, there's a good chance, if you've sat in that power long enough and between you you've built that relationship with spirit, there's a chance maybe that that rose, as that comes through to you, because it means to you that it's a grandmother, it's your grandmother, she grew beautiful white roses. That is so simple for spirit to use. They just place that in front of you, that white rose, and you know you have a grandmother figure coming through. And that is just a tiny example of how spirit get to know you and how they can use your life experience to be able to communicate. Sound, we experience sound differently. That might sound crazy, but we do. Some noises irritate some people, and some noises some people thoroughly enjoy. You know, we even experience sound differently. We all experience light differently. We all experience emotion differently. One film that will make somebody laugh will make another cry. We experience it differently. So there is no one way, okay, of learning mediumship without the element of sitting for spirit. And if you go back into the olden times of mediumship, those that sat for years are probably some of the best mediums we've ever had. If they felt that they were failing to communicate clearly, they would just simply go back and sit again. They would sit in that silence, sit in that power, and they would work with spirit to enhance that ability to communicate. We are not communicating, and I've said this before, we are not communicating with Martians on another planet somewhere. They are not speaking in Zorb language at all. We are talking self here, and if you like, another version of self. that is communicating together. We all have that same energy, that same source running through all of us. It runs through all living things that we experience in life. That same source runs through spirit. It is in us. It is here. It's not a million miles away. We just need to be in the right place with our energy to experience that source. We need to be in that silence and to work with it. And as we build that relationship with spirit, our mediumship gets enhanced, because as we have the sitter in front of us, we know exactly when they are there. We've learnt that while sitting in the power. Okay, we can ask for that while sitting in the power. Please give me a symbol so that I know you're here, that you are working with me, and you will build that relationship. And they'll say, yeah, there you go, there's a stroke of the head, there's a breeze across the face. Spirit will work with you like that. They will, between you and spirit, you will work or build your own way of working together. And like I said, I guide new people. I don't teach you, I can guide you. I can try and get you to that place where you need to be to experience. And then, I've said it a million times, I can only take you so far. I can't teach you to be a medium, but I can take you to that door of where you need to go. And that sitting in the power, that intent, that dedication, you will find the key and you will open that door. If you think you're going to become a medium on a course over a week, then seriously, I would think again. It takes time, it takes dedication, and it has to come from the heart. Your intent when you sit is important, to get that thought out there so spirit can link in with you. They know what your intent is, they become familiar with it, they know it's 6 o'clock at night, you're going to be sat down, they know you're there, and if you're not there, you will start to sense that they are expecting you to be there. We can't always do it at 6 o'clock in an evening. Things happen, we have life going on, and spirit are well aware of that. There's no punishment for it. They are aware of life because they've experienced it. So if you want to enhance your mediumship, if you are serious about doing this, then it's important that you get to know who you are. And by doing that, you will start to shine, because you will feel at ease with self. And that energy will flow from you, and people will sense that. It's a wonderful place to be. So ask yourself a few questions, sit in that silence. You deserve to be self, not who you are told to be. You cannot experience and you cannot prosper spiritually, you cannot progress spiritually by being who someone else wants you to be. You will only progress spiritually with guidance from spirit, by sitting in that silence, by sending out that love, that light. That's the only way forward, not only in life but in mediumship too. So sorry if I upset anybody. I will say that because I know there's a lot of people that don't always agree with what I have to say, but I'm not here, obviously that would probably totally contradict what I've just said. I'm just being me, I'm just being myself, I'm just telling you what I have learned, what I've experienced, and not from books but from my sitting in the silence, my sitting just for self. Working with spirit is probably, well, I don't really know how I can describe it. I don't think there are words, actually. But to experience that energy of love and light from spirit, okay, it's worth every minute that I've sat. Sometimes it can be very overpowering, and that's another, probably another video actually, is dealing with that emotion. I was talking to a lady last night on Patreon. The emotion can be sometimes very overwhelming, and it's just learning that trick of just taking that one step back, and dealing with the job in hand, and not allowing that emotion to take over. That's another video. So anyway, a bit of a long video actually. This is one of the longest ones I've done, but I just wanted to get that importance across to you. And I know I've spoken of it before in the past about itself and what have you. But you must be happy with who you are, to enable yourself to pull that tool out of the toolbox and use it. That's important. So take care, have a lovely evening or morning wherever you are in the world, and I look forward to speaking to you again. Please, as I've said before, and I think everybody says the same, please like, subscribe and share. Thank you for listening. Bye for now.